All right, welcome back to the channel. We're doing another Devin Haney video. All right, we got to talk about this young man, this exciting lightweight champion, the WBC lightweight champion who Lomachenko ducked by running up to the franchise belt, who's looking for a fight against Gervonta Tank Davis out of Baltimore, who's moving up to the weight class. And in the midst of all of this, the WBC throws a doozy at him. And I'm telling you, it is a doozy. Javier Fortuna as a mandatory. Let's talk about that in this. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Look, man, we out here talking about this boxing. Support the channel. Like my two most important sectors of the channel, of the supporters of the channel, the Patreon community. Thank you guys for your ongoing support. Thank you for giving me that outlet to talk about things other than boxing. Thank you to the live stream community that come by every day, Monday through Friday, and come to our week-ending show, OG Boxing Talk, with myself, KQKC Boxing, Blood Boxing, Curtis Anderson, and Trap House Boxing, Sundays, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You guys are really going to enjoy the show. We got a great chat. If you're not listening to what we talk about in the video, like the things that we're talking about in the actual chat, there's also so many people in the live stream themselves that they have great conversations going back and forth between mature boxing fans. Chop it up in the chat. Listen to what the people on the panel have to say. You're really going to enjoy yourself. Now, Devin Haney. Devin Haney, I think, could be getting set up into what is called a trap fight in the sport of boxing. He has been, his mandatory, and it is Javier Fortuna. Javier Fortuna is one of these guys that if you don't follow boxing, you won't know who he is, more than likely. And you also won't realize how awkward and difficult a fight it is for anybody. I have never seen Javier Fortuna in a fight that was not a difficult fight for somebody. He's lost some fights. He lost a fight against Jason Sosa, where Jason Sosa got a TKO in the 11th round. It quite honestly came from nowhere. So I kind of think that was a little bit of a fluke, but he did win the fight. He also fought tooth and nail for an IBF lightweight champion in an IBF lightweight championship fight with Robert Easter Jr. A lot of people think that Javier Fortuna beat Robert Easter Jr. I tend to, just go along with what the judges say and respect the score, but I can tell you for sure that was a very difficult fight. Javier Fortuna then moved up and fought Adrian Granados, got a no decision against Adrian Granados up at 140 pounds. And let me tell you, the Adrian Granados fight, if you look at that fight, and that'll tell you exactly why this guy is so difficult. Because he's number one, he's a southpaw. Number two, he is dirty as Skid Row. I mean, dirty. That is a dirty fighter. That guy will grab, hold, claw, punch you low, do whatever he's got to do to stay in that fight and win. He's very smart. He's got good skills. And like I said, man, he's in there to win. That is a matchmaker's nightmare. That is not somebody you just willy-nilly want to fight. Javier Fortuna is somebody that you know that you're in for a fight with when he gets in there. To me, he's similar to other fighters that are really awkward and difficult to beat, that are upper level fighters that a lot of people don't consider to be the top-notch fighter. But you could say people like Matt Korobov. You could think of one of my favorite fighters, the Drunken Master, Emmanuel Augustus. Just people that are just maybe like a poor man's Bernard Hopkins type thing, where it's just, he just wears you, he just grimy the way he fights. So to have that, Devin Haney have him in his second title defense and have the mandatory come up like right away. He basically wins his championship in the ring and right away he's got a mandatory. That's another little tricky thing that I don't get it, man. I don't think that's quite fair, right? Like, I would think that he would get a voluntary fight, right? He could have a voluntary fight, before he had the mandatory and has to fight somebody like Javier Fortuna. Obviously, he can't get out of the Javier Fortuna fight because it's, they've already got a franchise champ, don't they? They can't slide him up. He can't say, he's not going to have the benefit of walking into the WBC's office and ask if he can get out of his mandatory by being called a franchise champ. So I expect to see a purse bid that is taking place on December 3rd. December 13th. I expect to see that result in a fight between Javier Fortuna and Devin Haney, probably somewhere, maybe in the February-March time frame. Devin Haney fought 4 times this year. I expect that Devin Haney is going to want to fight again soon. Even though now he's the champion, his first fight as champion really came very, very quickly off of his last fight. The kid's not taking much time off in between fights at all. But the other interesting thing about this is going to be that Javier Fortuna is a PBC fighter. He's a PBC fighter. Those are the fight cards that I've been seeing Javier Fortuna fight on. I don't know for sure if he's advised or managed by Al Haymon, but he is a PBC fighter in the same way that Andy Ruiz is a PBC fighter. And they've announced that they're going to have a purse bid on December 13th. The way that the purse bids work are that they're going to hold the purse bid if the two sides cannot agree upon a purse. If the two sides can't agree upon a purse, then it goes to purse bid, and then the champion gets a certain percentage of the purse. The mandatory challenger gets a certain amount of the purse, and then you make the fight, and the fight would be aired on whatever channel or network or whatever promoter wins the purse bid. Now, the funny thing is going to be is if it goes to purse bid, will Eddie Hearn be able to win a purse bid? I know DAZN has a lot of money, and DAZN is paying big purses, right? Devin Haney, according to what was published for his purse, earned $1 million in his fight fight this weekend against Santiago, and I suspect he's going to be asking for at least the same thing, fighting somebody that's much more difficult, much more awkward in Santiago. But it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Eddie Hearn can actually win a purse bid. It's been a while since I've seen him in a purse bid, maybe 6-8 months since I've seen him in a purse bid, but he lost a purse. He lost Dillian White. I think he lost Dillian White purse bids. I've 3 or 4 purse bids. I don't recall them off the top of my head that took place between maybe late 2017 and early 2019. He lost all of the purse bids. So it would be wild to see this thing go to purse bid and somebody like what was it? I think it was the Pulev fight. Yeah, it was the Pulev fight. Some promoter who had never had a major fight before came in, threw a bunch of money in the purse bid, won the purse bid, and then it winds up that whoever the fighter was, the matchroom fighter, that they just pulled out of it. I know they've also lost purse bids. They also lost purse bids to Bob Arum or whatever. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not Fox or Showtime or a promoter linked to them want to pull Devin Haney and Javier Fortuna off of DAZN, or whether they're going to make these guys jack their price up pretty high and pay a significant chunk of money to keep Devin Haney over there on DAZN for that one fight. It's going to be the purse bid is going to be very, very interesting. Now, as far as Javier, what's going to happen in the fight, man, without a doubt, I got Devin Haney winning and beating Javier Fortuna. I just think that it's going to be a fight that's going to be very difficult for Devin Haney to look good in. Very difficult for Devin Haney to look good in, because Javier Fortuna is just somebody that nobody ever looks good against. He's somebody that's it's just going to be a very, very ugly fight. Unless Devin Haney is going to bring something that I don't, just devastating, just lay a shot into him and knock him out. But Devin Haney is a sharpshooter. He's a counter puncher. He has great movement. There's a lot of really things very, 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 very solid about Devin Haney. I just don't know if he's going to make it a pretty fight. Win the fight, I have no doubt he's going to win the fight. I have no doubt. I mean, anything can happen in boxing, but I have no doubt whatsoever that he'd win the fight against Javier Fortuna. My issue is whether or not he's going to actually look good, and whether this will be the second fight in a row where they put him in against guys that other people wouldn't necessarily fight. But there's a good and bad to that. The good side is, well, obviously the bad side is that people would use it as an excuse not to fight him. And I expect people to do that to Devin Haney. Tank Davis is the fight that team obviously wants the most now that Lomachenko ducked out of it. And you know, Gervonta Davis being managed by Leonard Ellerbe or promoted by Leonard Ellerbe and Floyd Mayweather Jr., that's not the type of fight those guys typically try to make. Those guys are trying to have him fight, you know, the Hugo Chavez's, the Jesus Cuellar's, right? The Yuriorkis Gamboas, right? Typically people with Spanish last names. That's the MO. And I have a hard time believing that they're going to get out of that modus operandi anytime soon. So they might hang on that. So the bad part of it is that you might wind up having people be more resistant to fight Devin Haney because he keeps having to beat guys in fights that are not easy, right? Robert Easter Jr. also had those type of fights with the Shafakovs, the Javier Fortunas, those type of guys. Even Adrian Granados. Adrian Granados is tough to look good against as well. Even, you know, he even gave Sean Porter difficulties in looking good in that fight. But that's the difficulty I see. For the good side of it, though, is that by beating these guys, Devin Haney is going to get to a point when you can't avoid him, that he's going to beat the tar out of everybody, because he's had to overcome very difficult styles and beating guys that other people didn't want to fight because he's not being overmatch made. But anyway, that's my take on the scenario. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.